My name's Naveed and I'm one of the Imams here at Shah Jahan Mosque. An Imam is someone who leads the 5 daily prayers at the mosque, and he might also have other jobs looking after the community. My day begins with waking up for the morning prayer, which is the first prayer that we pray, and that would mean that you would wake up just before sunrise, and the first thing I would do is wash. The washing is called the wudu or ablution, and it's something that we have to do before we pray as Muslims and also before we touch the Qur'an. إنه كان توابا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. So after the prayer we would read some additional prayers or read some of the Qur'an. The prayers are done in Arabic, and the reason they are in Arabic is the Qur'an, which is the holy book for Muslims, is in Arabic. And in the prayer we have to read some of the verses from the Qur'an. Then we would have breakfast together. Sometimes I cook it, sometimes my wife cooks it, but the kids prefer the wife's cooking rather than the dad's cooking, because I just give them toast with beans or something. So as Muslims we pray 5 times a day, and those 5 prayers are spread throughout the day and they follow the motion of the sun. So we have a prayer just before sunrise early morning, which is called the Fajr prayer. Then we have a prayer at midday when the sun is at its highest point in the sky, which is called the Dhuhr prayer. Then we have an afternoon prayer which is called Asr. And then we have a prayer just at sunset which is called Maghrib. And then a nighttime prayer once it's gone dark, which is called Isha. So when we pray as Muslims, you will see that the prayer is a number of different motions of the body. So we would be standing, then we're going into bowing, and then going into prostration, which is putting your forehead onto the ground. And the reason why we have these different motions in the prayer is because it shows your servant being a servant of God and worshipping Him. I dress like this mainly because it is something that the Prophet Muhammad, a way that he dressed, but also it makes it easier when it comes to the prayer. When we pray, we're not allowed to show too much of the body, so not a lot of skin. So wearing the long robe helps you to cover that quite easily. Having a beard is something which the Prophet Muhammad, he grew his beard, and at that time generally men had beards. So anything that Prophet Muhammad did, we call it a sunnah. So anything that he did is recommended for us as Muslims to imitate and copy. Friday is the holy day for Muslims, and it's the only day and the only prayer in the week where Muslim adults have to come to the mosque to pray. Men would be praying together and women would be praying together. What we're not allowed is men and women intermingling together, so a man being praying next to a woman. And the reason for that is how naturally the opposite sexes are attracted to each other, and you would lose concentration in the prayer. So if you have the facilities, we would have a prayer hall for men and a prayer hall for women. So on a Friday we would have the khutbah. The khutbah is a sermon that the Imam delivers, which is a speech reminding the Muslim community about some of the morals and values that Islam teaches. Because they see you driving around in your flash cars and the like, and they think that's the way that I can achieve success. That's not success. Once we've done the midday prayer, if I can fit in lunch, I'll try to fit in lunch somewhere. Most of the time it's takeaway food, but sometimes I'll try to get home to have something healthy that my wife's cooked up, but most of the time it's something unhealthy. My role here is as the Imam, but also I have a wider role within the community, and that is to serve the Muslims in the community and also the non-Muslims within the community. That means I would visit local schools, take assemblies, also visiting local hospitals, visiting local prisons and helping in those prisons, whether that's religious counselling, whether that's advice, and sometimes it's just simply visiting people for the sake of friendship. So here at the mosque we have a weekday madrasa and a weekend madrasa, and madrasa is a part-time school for the Muslims in the community, and they would come here around 4:30 in the afternoon for a couple of hours, and they would learn how to read Arabic, how to read the Qur'an, and also learn some of the basic beliefs that we have as Muslims.
What's about Binton? Oh, that's what we're going to do.
In my spare time I like to stay fit, so I like doing football and I like doing cycling, so I try to do them as much as I can whenever I get time. I'm not the best at them, but I do try. I try to get home for the Maghrib prayer, and I'll do that prayer with my wife and kids. Once we finish the prayer, I'll play with my kids for a short time. As Muslims we have to eat something called halal food. That's just normal food, but it's just halal means that it's permitted, because there's certain foods that are not permitted. For example, pork is not permitted for us as Muslims to eat. We're also not allowed to drink alcohol. Pretty much everything else we're allowed to eat. At home it doesn't restrict our cooking. I'm not a great cook, but I can cook some foods really well. My kids don't like it, but tough luck, they eat what they're given. So once we finish the nighttime prayers, I would try to aim for 12 o'clock to be in bed, but it's not always the case because I'll have quite a bit of work to do sometimes, so I'd get to sleep probably just after 12 o'clock or close to 12:30 at night. The thing I find most rewarding about being an Imam is just being there for other people, and that's what an Imam really should be doing, and what his role is, that he makes himself available to others. And when people come to you with their issues and with their problems, and just being there to help resolve those issues, it's really rewarding. But just being there and doing that, you feel some sort of reward inside that I'm actually involved in helping other people. And whether that's Muslim or non-Muslims, just being there for other people is the greatest thing that I think anyone can do.